Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be breaking down how to properly cost your small chops like samosa, spring roll, puff puff, peppered beef, peppered chicken. So whether you're a baker, a caterer, or you are someone just venturing into the food business, then this video is for you. It will help you avoid underpricing your products and also ensure that you're making real profits in your small chops business. So let's get right into it. Okay, so this costing stroke, this recipe gave us 110 samosas and 100 spring rolls. Please take note that the prices I'll be using here might be different from yours. If you look at the date here, I wrote 15th, that's 15th 09 2020 2024. That was last year, so you should not be expecting the price of last year to be the same thing as this year, so there might be differences in your prices. Please take notes. So now for the small chops, let's first of all go through the ingredients for the fillings. Ingredients for fillings, this is it. So we have our vegetables from carrots, cabbage, green pea, green pepper, sweet corn, red pepper, seasonings, garlic and ginger, vegetable oil, kilo of meat, gas, sugar. But what I'm trying to say is that the all the ingredients you used for your fillings, you have to write down their prices. Okay, so I also wrote label. So for my fillings, I just used 5,000 naira label. Now let us now go. So at the side of your ingredients for fillings, you have to create a column. Please ignore this particular one. This is just trying to tell, this is actually the amount I got carrots. I got it 4,000 naira, got it 2,500 naira for garbage, got 700 naira for garbage. However, I did not use all of them. If you look at for carrots, this is 1,500 and this is 1,000, and when you sum it up to 5, it's not up to 4,000 naira. Okay, so please ignore this particular part and let's our focus be on the samosa and spring roll. Remember, we are still talking about the ingredients. So now for the carrots, for samosa and spring roll, we have 1,500, that's for carrots, 1,000 naira for carrots. So that means I made use of 1,500 naira carrots, and I made use of, that's for samosa, and then I made use of 1,000 naira carrots for spring roll. What is in the next? That's garbage. I don't use garbage for my samosa, so I used for spring roll and I made use of 1,000 naira garbage. If you notice now, look at the price here, 2,500. So just trying to tell you that I didn't use all of them for this particular recipe. So that's why I said you should ignore this particular column and focus on the samosa and spring roll. Remember, we are talking about the ingredients for fillings. So for green pea, I bought 350 naira green pea and then 350 naira spring roll. So for sweet corn, we have 350. For red pepper, 100 naira for samosa, 100 naira for spring roll. For onions, 100 naira for samosa, 100 naira for spring roll. For seasoning, 300 naira for samosa and 300 naira for spring roll. Then for of course, garlic and ginger is optional, so I didn't even bother. Then for vegetable oil, I said 200 naira. 200 naira for samosa, 200 naira for spring roll. Then for kilo of meat, I just made use of 1,500, and I only use meat for my samosa. Like I said, it depends on your recipe. The major thing you have to get from this particular video is for you to understand how to cost your small. So we have our gas. I made use of 450 naira gas for samosa and made use of 350 naira for spring roll. That's for gas. Then for sugar, just use slightly, just give an estimate of 100 naira. That's for spring roll. Then of course, do not forget to add your label. So for label, for the total, I just said 5,000 naira. So 2,500 for spring roll and 2,500 for samosa. That's for the cutting and everything. So by the time we sum up everything, we sum up samosa, we had 7,700. We sum up the ingredients and the label for spring roll, we had 6,700 naira. So when you sum up the both of them, that's for samosa and spring roll, you should be having a total of 14,400 naira. So this is for the ingredients for fillings. Did you see? Now let's move over to wrapper. Of course, you have to make your wrappers. I said wrapper for samosa and spring roll unfried. That is the small chops are yet to be fried. You know, there are some times that your clients or your customers might want you to sell small chops for them that is not yet fried. They want unfried ones, something they can just buy and put in the fridge. Anytime they feel like eating, they will fry it. So this is how you can actually cost for unfried small chops. Do not forget that for our fillings, we already have 14,400. So let's move over for the wrappers for small samosa and spring roll. So for flour, I made use of 2 congos of flour. Remember, this recipe is actually for this recipe is actually for small chops that is quite bulky. I told you I have 110 samosas, 100 spring rolls. That's the sevens. So flour, we have 2 congos, and per congo we have 1.5. So the total of 2 congos will give you 3,000 naira. Then 1 cup of sugar, 350, salt, 15 naira gas, 700 naira. That's for the wrapper. And of course, I will have to add my label. So my labor, you know that making wrappers is not a small game. So I used 13,000 naira. So by the time I summed up everything, I have 17,100 naira. That is for the, I'm yet to add my indirect cost and some other stuff, but just go with me. So I have 17,100 naira. So now moving down to this, we have indirect cost, which is TFE plus maintenance. Of course, you have your sticky pans. You need to maintain your sticky pans and other and your equipment. So I just used for TFE, I used 1.5, and then for maintenance 1.5, which is 3,000 naira. And by the time you sum up 3,000 naira plus 17,100, you have 20,100 naira. So please, I hope this is not going to be like it will not be confusing for you. If you are someone that is yet to understand what direct costs or what indirect costs means, or what labor or what overhead means, please kindly go through my YouTube channel. I already have a video on it. And there I explained how to properly cost for any of your products. I talked about direct costing, indirect costing, overheads, talked about overpricing, underpricing, and you know what, I am just going to attach the link for that video on the description in this particular video. So do well to watch it. Okay, it is very important you watch it. Now let's continue. So we have total, which is 20,100. That is just for the wrapper unfried. Now, because we now want to know the total amount for unfried small chops, which means that you will need to add your fillings and that of your wrapper. That was why I said combo now. Wrapper plus fillings. Remember, unfried will give you what, 20,100 plus fillings, which is 14,400. Then you have 34,500. This is for unfried. So do not forget that we have added our labor, we have added our maintenance and our indirect costs. Okay, so we have 34,500. Now remember that this calculation was basically for samosa and Springroll combo together. Now we have, in order for us to now be able to get the price for just samosa and Springroll alone. So samosa combo, which means fillings for samosa and wrapper for samosa, which is still unfried, you have to divide it by 2. Since we did this for the 2 of them, samosa and Springroll, but I want samosa alone, so I will now say 34,500 divided by 2 gives me 17,250. Then for the Springroll combo, we have 34,500 divided by 2, which is still 17,250. Now cost price per 1 filled samosa. Remember, for samosa we had 110 samosa sevens. That is, the recipe gave us 110 samosas. So for cost price per 1 filled samosa, remember it is still unfilled. So you go back to your price, which is this 17,250, then divide it by 110. That's the 7. You have 156.8 naira for unfried. Then you do the same thing for Springroll. You have 17,250 divided by 100. It is not 110, it's 100. Look at, for the Springroll I had 100 here. So when you do it, you will have 172.5 naira. That is for unfried. Now, in order for us to now fix in our profits, I make use of 30% profit. So let's just say that we are making use of 30% profits for samosa. So 30% profits for samosa, which means that price for samosa combo 17,250 times 0.3. How do we get 0.3? 30% means 30 over 100. So times 0.3, and then you have 5175. That's 5,175 naira. This is yet to be your profit, so you're not done. So this 7,250 plus 5,175 gives you 22,425 naira. Now you have to get the profit. That is, in order for you to now get your selling price per unfried samosa, you have 22,425 divided by 110, and then you have 203 naira 0.9 kobo. Sorry, not kobo, 203.9 naira. That is for unfried. So what am I saying? So it means selling price per one unfried samosa is, of course, I cannot have this. We don't have 203.9. So let's just say it is 250 naira, approximately 250 naira. Then total selling price for unfried samosas, it means that I have to multiply 250 times 110. Then I will have 27,500 naira. Since they said total selling price, now since you have gotten selling price per one unfried samosa to be 250, then total selling price becomes 250 times 110 to give you 27,500 naira. Then total profit for unfried samosas. Now we now want to, since we have said selling price is 250, let us, and we said that the cost price is for samosa is 156.8 naira. So in order for us to now get the total profit for unfried samosas for 110 pieces, it means that you what, of course, this is the cost price for of course, this is the cost price for your samosa combo, which is 17,250, and this is the selling price for unfried samosa, which is 27,500. So what do? It means that you have to subtract 27,500 naira minus 17,250. So you will have 10,250. So it means that for 110 samosas, for unfried 110 pieces of samosa, the total profit you'll be making is 10,250, and then your cost price per unfried samosa is 156.8 naira, and the selling price per one unfried samosa is 250 naira. I hope you understand. So you do the same thing for your spring roll. That was the same thing I did for spring roll. Since I've gotten the cost price per one filled spring roll to be 172.5 naira, that's for unfried, then I have to get my profit 30% for spring roll. You do what you did here, and you also do it the same here, the same way here. So what I did basically was 17,250 times 0.3 gave me 5175, right? And don't forget that it was actually the same cost price we had for samosa and spring roll. So definitely I should have this for spring roll, 22,425, which I did here, which is still unfried. Then per one unfried spring roll, want to know the profit for, sorry, want to know the sale for one unfried spring roll. That's the selling price for one unfried spring roll. Since we didn't use 110, we didn't have 110 samosa, we had 100 spring roll. So we have 22425 divided by 100. You have 224.3 naira, which is for unfried. That's for the selling price. So I've already, so it means if I'm to even round off this, let's just say 250. So selling price per one unfried spring roll equals to 250 naira. Then total selling price for unfried spring roll, that's total selling price for unfried spring roll. What does it mean? It means 250 times 100 pieces gives you 25,000 naira. Now I want to know the total profits. Total profits for unfried spring roll, which is 100 pieces, gives you what? This 25,000 naira minus your cost price, which is what? 17,250. Take note that this one I did was just for me to get the cost price per one. See, per one. So this is just for the combo, and for the spring roll, that's for the 100 spring rolls. So when you subtract 25,000 minus 17,250, you have 7,750 naira. So that means the total profit I'm getting for spring roll for 100 pieces is 7,750. So we are done with unfried, but let me just give you a quick view so you know what, so you don't get confused, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is it, this is it, this is it. So now we go to fried samosa and spring roll. Now we have been able to sort out our pricing for unfried. So we are now going to talk about costing for fried samosas and spring roll. What's the difference? The only difference is that you are now frying, and of course you have to add vegetable oil, and of course you also have to add your gas. So this is it. So recall, I said combo is what? 34,500. That is for unfried, which means I didn't use vegetable oil. So now, since we are talking about fried samosas and spring roll, so I'll be making use of vegetable oil, and I made use of 2 liter. You can use more. I said 2 liter and or more. So 5,000 naira. Then gas, that's for the 2 liters, 5,000 naira. For gas, 600 naira. And for labor, that is just for frying, no, just to help fry, is 2,000 naira. So total we have 42,100 naira. Now remember, this is for samosa and spring roll. That's combination of the both of them. So now we want to get the cost price for samosas itself. So samosa we have 42,100 divided by 2. This is 21,050 naira. Then for the spring roll, we have 42,100 divided by 2 is 21,050 naira. So cost price per spring roll now. Cost price per spring roll. We now have, for spring roll, this is 21,050. So 21,050 naira divided by 100 will give you 210 naira, 210.5 naira, which is for fried, remember. Then cost price per samosa, remember I said we have 110, so 21,050 naira divided by 110 we give you 191.4 naira. That is still for fried. Now what we just did was just the cost. We are yet to fix our profit. Like I said, please, it is important that you go through that video I spoke about costing. Cost like a pro. There I mentioned how to add profits, how to set percentage and profit margin, direct costing, indirect. So please go through that video. It is very important. I would also attach the link on this video. So let's proceed. Now we say we want to have 30% profit for samosas. So 30% profit for samosa, which means 21,050 times 0.3, which is 6,315, then equals to 21050 plus this, and then you have a sum of 27,365. That is yeah. Now in order for us to now get the profits per one samosa, so we have 27,365 divided by 110. We have 248.8 naira. So let's say estimately we say selling price per one fried samosa is just 350. You can choose to make your own 300, your choice. Selling price per one, this is just like an estimate, okay? So selling price per, just make sure that it is within this, it's not too far, okay? And it is, just make sure that the price you are putting here is not below what you have here, okay? You can either put it above what you have here, or you can use this particular one. And the reason why I didn't use this particular one is because we cannot have 248.8 naira. She gets, so we can either have 250, and already have for unfried to be 250. So definitely you can't sell it at 250. I can't sell it at 250 naira. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so selling price per one fried samosa now gives you 350. Now total selling price for 110 samosa means that what you have to multiply. So 350 times 110 gives you 38,500 fried. Total profit for fried samosas. Now I want to talk about profits. Okay, total profits now. What do you do? So 38,500 minus cost price for the 110 samosas. This is it here. This is the cost price. This is it here. So you subtract and you have 17,450. So that means per 110 pieces of samosa. Sorry, that means for the 110 pieces of samosa, for my I'm making a profit of 17,450 naira. Then of course, you do the same thing for spring rolls. We have 30% profit of spring roll, gives you 27,365. Do you get? It's the same thing here. So you have this, and then per one now, divide by 100, you have 273.7 naira. So this is trying to tell you that your costing must not be below this. Okay, it can be ahead. So selling price per one fried spring roll, we have 350 naira. Then total selling price for 100 It's still saving. I still fair 273. This is 350, so it's still fair. Total selling price for 100 spring rolls. So you multiply 315 times 100. You get this. You get 35,000. Now enough for us to get the total profit for fried spring rolls. So you have 35,000 naira minus cost price of the spring roll, which is 21,050 naira. This is it here. And then you have 13,950. So in summary now, for unfried total labor, you remember I fixed in labor, so you see that this costing is very good. It's important you actually cost your small chops well. So for my total labor, this W and F, that's for wrapper and fillings. So total labor for unfried wrapper and fillings, I had 18,000 naira. Total profits for this unfried, I have 18,100 naira. So for the total is 36,000 naira. And please, this includes the labor. That means total, that's for the total, right? That's the total. When I say total, it means total labor plus total profits. Okay, 18,000, that's 36,000 naira. So for the fried, which is total labor, which means, you know, for fried, you actually have to input your labor for unfried before you even talk about frying. She gets. So this F means for fried and this one means for unfried. So we have 18,000 naira plus 2,000 naira for the fried. Then we have 20,000 naira. So total profits means what? Samosa for that's samosa for fried and spring roll for fried. And then you add up everything, you have 31,400. So total, which means the labor plus the profit, you have 51,400 naira. So this is for puff. Yeah, so the yield for this one is 150 small pieces, small, like small puff. So we have 150. I remember I told you when you are doing your costing, the first thing you have to do is to write down your ingredients. When you write down your ingredients, then you write the cost at which you got the ingredients. So I'm making use of 1.5 kg flour. So for the total cost of this 1.5 kg flour, that's 250. So you do the same thing for this. You write the ingredients, write the amount you got them, and of course don't forget your labor. So I just fixed 1,000 naira for labor, then the total is 7,055 naira. So once you get the cost price, that is, if when you are okay, there's something I should also let you know. When the essence why you are calculating your cost price is to make you be aware that there are some prices you can't take from your customers. Now, if we say the cost price of this is 7,055 naira divided by 150, and we're having 47 naira, or let's just say 50 naira, it means that this is the cost, this is the amount you will use to purchase just one puff, like for you to make one puff. So if someone comes to you and say he or she wants to get a puff for 50 naira, you know it's a no-go area, because here you have not even you've not even fixed your profits, and you should be having 15 naira already. You've not even fixed your profits, and you want to go and sell 15 naira puff for someone. You know that you are not going to make any profit with that. And what's the essence of venturing into a business when there's no profits? So now we now have 30% profits. So by the time you do everything, you have 9171.5 naira. So now for us to get the profit per one, you have 9171.5 divided by 150 pieces. You have 61.1 naira. Approximately your selling price is 70 naira per one. So that means that if someone comes to you and says, okay, I want to get puff, and you tell the person 18 naira, you want to sell it for 18 naira. If the person tells you 70 naira, fine, you can get it. For instance, I'm just as an instance, so you can get it because it is not below the cost price. This is the cost price, okay? So if the person says 16 naira, your choice. If you want to take the order, you're free to do that, as long as it is not below the cost price. Do you get what I'm saying? But if the person has a 15 naira, of course, you know you cannot sell it for 15 naira, because there you are not making any profits. So selling price is 17 naira per one. So total selling price for 150 puff means 30,000 naira, 30,500. Sorry, it means 70 times 150 gives you 10,500 naira. So total profits means that you are going to subtract the selling price minus the cost price to get a total profit, and that is 3,445 naira. So for the peppered meats, if you are using chicken, there's no problem. Just write down all the ingredients you use for preparing the peppered chicken or the peppered beef. So for yield, I made use of 50 I got 50 medium sizes, and the meats I got 11,200 naira meats. seasoning 400 naira, vegetable oil, pepper, onions. Don't forget to add your gas, don't forget to add your labor. You sum up everything, and then the cost price as 15,800 per one divided by 50, you have 316 naira. So it means that you cannot sell your meat at that range. You have to sell it higher than this because this is just a cost price. So fixing your profits, and by the time you fix in our profits, you have 20,540. So to get per one, that's selling price per one of this beef, 20,540 divided by 50 gives you 410.8 naira. So let's say selling price per one is 415 naira estimately, since we cannot have something of 410.8, so just say 415 naira. So if someone comes to you and tells you that okay, he or she wants to buy meat and is bargaining with you and say he or she wants to buy it, or wants to buy the meat for 400 naira, or let me say the person wants to buy the meat for 500 naira, it's a go ahead for you because at least it exceeds the selling price. But if the person comes to you and tells you that he or she wants to buy the meat for 300 naira, you know it's a no-go area because the cost price is already 360 naira. So total profit means the selling price minus the cost price gives you 6,700 naira. So yeah, we're done. So can you see the power of proper costing? You just don't have to guess your prices, you just calculate it. So if you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up, share with fellow foodpreneurs, and don't forget to subscribe for more pricing tutorials and baking tips. Let me know in the comments, what would you like me to cost next? Do you want chin chin? Do you want meat pie? Just let me know. Take care. Bye.